Stuttering John.
Right.
Let's start with a song parody that came in from Dane Bramage 566 in the Dabblers Anonymous subreddit.
2 years ago.
And let me tell you about a story yesterday.
Let me tell you a little story about a man named John. Went to the pub just to get his drinking on. Then the talk of Biden started getting pretty mean. And here comes John, he's making a scene. No more Coors for $10 tips. Now the next thing you know, John has passed out on his ass. So he starts off complaining on his Saturday podcast. He said, "There's no way you can argue with me." Then he drank 100 beers and fell off the balcony. Right through the green screen. Into the Home Depot parking lot.
Brilliant. Very, very well done. I was laughing pretty hard at that last night.
That's how you do it.
When I ran into that. All right. So what's going on with Stuttering John? He just put out an episode on Thursday, and he starts off by talking about this Twitter feud that he's in. The thing that John has done, which is pretty annoying, is he's been trying to draw a lot of attention to the content of our show in order to get Patreon to take us down, in order for me to not have a livelihood from podcasting anymore. This is John's mission in life right now, which I would say is not a great use of someone's time, trying to knock somebody, actually get their lives ruined. But whatever, that's how John rolls. So he's going to tease that he can't wait to talk about this.
Later on, I'm going to address something. I had this kind of friendly argument with this author on Twitter, and it's time that I address the horseshit that's going on around me, but I will. But not until after Chip, maybe in between Chip and John.
All right, so after his first guest, that's when we'll be very excitedly awaiting his response to this Twitter feud. Now, before we get into any of that, he had played this guy, Randy Rainbow, for his intro music. Have you ever seen Randy Rainbow? Mm-hmm. Super flamboyant guy, does like show toony things, but it's all like anti-Trump stuff. So John loves it. He eats it up, even though it's music that I don't think John would ever care about, but he thinks it's the funniest stuff. And apparently, Randy Rainbow, because John uses his content, gave him a nod, and John's very excited.
Mentions me in his book. Let's all thank Randy Rainbow for that wonderful song. He actually thanked...
Look how much different he looks and sounds 2 years ago. Just a little spaghetti noodle arms. Mr. Tough Guy.
He mentions me in his book. I was truly touched. It's just like when Jim Norton thanked me in his book, and I was truly touched. Jim Norton is one of the greatest comedians and one of the greatest people.
Jim Norton didn't thank you. He thanked about 80 people, and you're way down at the bottom of the list.
I've ever met. So always support Jim Norton. Go check into the Jim and Sam show anytime. He is a hell of a dude and a good friend of mine. And we've been friends for over 20 years.
When's the last time we talked to him, John? This really good friend of yours. Was it when I was on Chip's show?
But enough about Randy Rainbow.
3 years ago? God. Holy shit. Wow. Jim Norton, what a great guy, because he thanked you in his book. So I have Jim's books.
Yeah.
So I thought I would find these acknowledgments.
Yes.
So he's got 2 pages of acknowledgments. He mentions over 100 people.
Yeah.
This is his first book. And this is the mention of John. And this is the last paragraph of the acknowledgments. It says, Jay Leno and the entire Tonight Show staff, especially Ross, Bob, and John. Doesn't even mention his last name.
Yeah.
And it's part of the Tonight Show because at that time, Jim Norton was working for the Tonight Show as a correspondent. All right, fast forward to his next book, and let's look at the acknowledgments.
Probably a lot more touching.
Well, in this book, there's a lot more acknowledgments. You can see there's 3 pages of acknowledgments here.
Wow.
And let's see. Oh, here we go. In the 30th paragraph, after 150 people have been already listed, it says, Jay Leno for always putting me on the couch with women who wouldn't dream of sleeping with me. Ross Mark, Bob Reed, John Melendez, and the entire Tonight Show staff. Thanks for being so good to me. So it really actually has nothing to do with John Melendez at all. He just happens to work at the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Doesn't John take credit for Jim Norton making it big because John put him on his Stuttering John comedy tour? No mention of that at all. And he has a whole list of all the comedians he's done shows with. A huge list of the comedians that he acknowledges. No mention of John there. And John is still holding on to that.
That's why I was touched. He didn't embarrass me.
Yeah, right. So basically, John's name is just John in one of these books, and he still thinks they're besties because of it. All right. So this is funny because John's talking about how he has a date later on in the day, which I can't wait to find out more about on the Saturday show if he's willing to talk about it. He sometimes is. He sometimes is willing to talk about what's going on with his dates.
Yeah, even when they tank, he talks about it, which is really strange.
Which is fun, yeah. So hopefully,
All these dates are fantasies. Never happened.
where his boner pills are this time.
Oregano, got it.
And now let me ask the ladies, do you like with the beard or without the beard? Because I got a date tonight.
So we like with the beard. So you gonna grow one tonight? Dumbass.
So I was debating, should I shave or should I not?
Should I grow a beard?
Yeah, you're gonna grow
And
a beard.
I finally said, I asked a girl at the Copper Bucket yesterday. I said, should
Literally.
I shave? And she said, and she's a friend, she said, John, my ex-husband always had a beard. I never saw his face. Ladies don't like dating Santa Claus. So, no beard.
So you asked a woman who obviously has some psychological issues.
He looks terrible. 2 years ago, he looks terrible. Compared to today, he looks great. But man, this guy is a bucket of flab.
With her ex because she brought that up immediately, and I think that John did that just to prove he has a neck. That's the first time I've seen
And
his
a
neck
razor.
in 3.5 years. He had to like pick up his whole chins and show like, see, there's a neck there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, you win. You got me there, John. Fair enough. So John's got a date. That's exciting. Okay. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Enough with the appetizers. The appetizers just make me more hungry. So John brings on his first guest. And John admits that he badgers people in order to get them on his show. And of course, he apologizes for that.
You back. As you know, I hate to sound like a pestering badger, but I badger you all the time.
Oh, man, it's always nice, dude. I'm fucking with you.
You're a festering something.
It's great to be here. Thanks.
No, I know, but I mean, some guests I have to just, once every 2 weeks I got to ask, just to keep it in their minds, because like yours, you were always doing great things, but you have a very busy life, so it's very.
All Mensa candidates go, can't finish a whole sentence,
very easy to forget the little people like me.
Fishing for a compliment.
Oh, baby. No, it's good. It's good to hear your voice.
And you're not little.
No compliment at all. He's like, because I'm not as big a deal as you are, Chip Franklin. He's like, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
He is some interviewer, man.
Isn't he? That's how he starts off the show, talking about how he's badgering him to come on and apologizing for that. And John goes, I hate badgering people, but I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I continue to badger people. There was a funny screenshot somebody posted from his Twitter.
Yeah.
Julia Diane Dreyfus, is that her name?
Julia Louise-Dreyfus.
Julia
Yeah.
Louise-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Thank you. She had mentioned something about how Republicans suck, and it had nothing to do with anything.
Julia Louis Dreyfus. No Louise.
Other than, vote Democrat. And so, of course, he comes on there and he's like, come on my show. 'Cause you're not going to get a big star like that on your show, John. You talk to 36 crazy people. Why would they want to talk to those people?
Yeah, and if she was going to do a podcast, she certainly wouldn't book it through a fucking tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially someone like her. She probably has like a publicist.
Yeah.
It's probably.
And they might actually vet the shows that they would let their
Yeah.
celebrity appear on.
Yeah, that's also a pretty good point. All right. So John lets his guests do some name dropping here.
Oh, good.
But he also, in the middle of this, gets a donation, and he leaves this up on the screen for a very long time. He puts it up on the screen, leaves it up on the screen for a very long time.
Talking about Chappelle, and I knew Chappelle from the DC days. You know, we did the same when he was a kid. So I'm working at a place called Garvin's in Washington D.C. It was one of the first comedy clubs outside New York City, and before that though there was a Fort Garvin's. There was this little teeny place that people would come down. It was called L. Brookman's, and Seinfeld would drop by, Eddie Murphy, Piscopo. A lot of these guys were starting out.
Yeah, we get it. You're an old timer,
Yeah.
and you met a bunch of famous comedians over there. So, if you guys didn't see what the post was, so this guy Trump Sucks 26 sent $2.79 Canadian, and that is for the chemotherapy. All right. So again, this is for that charity that John says, please donate to my PayPal, so that I can give to this charity. Muttering Jay, my favorite Twitterer of all time.
Oh, God.
He posted something just today that said, in California, any individual or organization that solicits charitable funds is considered a charitable trustee. Under Government Code Section 12585, initial registration must be filed within 30 days of first receiving charitable assets. He's sure that Stuttering John is doing this. I'm sure he's filing with the government appropriately in order to receive these charitable assets from people.
Yeah, I would love to see all the accounting for this.
Yeah,
He's
me
saying,
too.
I'm collecting all this money to donate to chemotherapy. Are we going to
Yeah.
see like a hospital bill or a GoFundMe? Are we going to see this?
Well, he did
documented
say trust me, which
He
would
did.
lead me to believe that we're not going to
did.
see any of this. That we just need to trust him, and that'll be fine. I'm not sure though. We'll find out, I guess.
Remember, John gets a PayPal or a donation, then he Venmos it to another guy, and then another guy writes a check and sends it to the beloved chatter. What a scam. So full of shit.
But even when you go to a charity show, they'll be like, hey, we raised $700 for whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like they're proud of it. It's a thing. I'm sure
Yeah.
that we'll get that from him. I'm sure he'll be like, I raised.
Well, he should have a chart where he's like coloring it in with
Yeah,
marker.
for
He's trying to get
numbers,
he's trying to get to the goal or whatever.
Absolutely.
I don't know why you sound suspicious, though. What about the money that was raised for the DC trip? That was
Yeah, that's right. Full accounting was shown for. Oh wait, no, actually no. He complained about it.
Oh, right.
all the time, and actually
What
for
was
more
it?
money
Disaster.
because the hotel was $400.
He only,
right, he
he
forgot about
only
that.
raised money for 19 months leading up to that.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Time might-
I know.
Time might be more of the essence here.
How long is this?
Yeah, the Washington trip, he's going to hire a camera crew. He ended up going on Facebook, paying $75 for somebody to record it on their phone. So he collected for 19 months, kept all the money, and he took a train. He didn't even fly out. Cheapskate. Scammer. Liar.
Grift gonna go on for him.
seriously.
Until the next charity.
It's so funny because I have a video ready to go on YouTube. It's from the Pat Oates episode. We literally pointed out 3 laws that John was breaking
Yeah, that's the
on
thing.
his show.
And there's a million shows out there that all ask for money. There's a million ways to ask for money
Yeah.
that aren't illegal and
Right.
fucking immoral and creepy and weird.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you just ask your
GoFundMes.
audience for money. It's fine. Like,
Right. But if you want to do a charity, you can set up a GoFundMe. It's all taken care of for you.
Yeah, it's pretty easy nowadays.
So this whole thing when he was, going down, making trans an issue and that whole deal, talking about the jokes, it bothered me because I always, I have my opinion about comedy that we should always punch up, not down, and so I was kind of hard on him, but not too hard because I know we all fuck up and say things. If you went back and pulled everything I'd ever said,
Oh, that's what I'm gonna address that because I get these people who try and say that I'm a certain way because 30 years ago I was on the Howard Stern show and
Well, I got a Stern story too for you along those same lines. Let me finish this though. So, people sometimes will say like, this woman that defeated Cheney, and I was talking about how crazy she looks, and they're like, why do you have to body shame her? I'm like, fuck you. She's a horrible person. She's hurting. She wants to hurt people, and
You following this, Crouch? He can say that because she's a bad person. You're allowed to say shitty things about.
me out for things that we did in the Howard Stern show. It was 30 years ago. I
I love
mean,
he goes, people are calling me out. Me! Can you believe it? I mean, all I am is the biggest hypocrite ever. They're calling me out? What the fuck?
And his guest is literally grimacing. He looks like he's in pain. He's like, I can't
He's like-
fucking believe I'm.
30 years ago. John, all you talk about is your previous accomplishments 30 years ago. Nothing that you've done in the last 15 years.
I'm listening to you talk.
Yeah, you're going to try and shoehorn this in again.
Yeah.
Again.
Howard used to use the R word for the mentally challenged all the time.
And for you.
He called me that a billion times.
Exactly.
So, that was a different world. It was not
Say retard, you faggot.
until 2010 did Obama make it unacceptable when he signed it out of any bill.
Did you guys know that President Barack Obama in 2010 made it unacceptable to say the word retard? Did you know that?
I got the letter. I had to change all my sheet music at home. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he made an exception for podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the hard thing, Chip, is that like a lot of these comics, I saw a thing that someone was calling out Sarah Silverman for something she said, and she has to say, "Hey, different times then," and I apologize.
She's
but
fucking
it's
brilliant. She's brilliant, though. I mean,
no.
Yeah, she's real. Hey. So now John describes why he can make jokes that ridicule others.
I mean, but she also self-deprecates. She takes.
Same on me.
Someone
John thinks he's a self-deprecating comic.
Did he just say, same as me?
Yeah.
He didn't say self-defecating. He didn't shit yourself. He said deprecating, you asshole.
I'm also self-deprecating.
I'm just like Sarah Silverman.
Yep.
His whole policy in life is it's different when I do it.
Of course. It's great. All right, last clip I have from Stuttering John. So his second guest on this program was John Fugelsang. And John is...
John?
I know. Can you believe it?
Wow.
His name is my name, too.
Yeah.
So this is great because John, who's on the East Coast, will be making a trip out to L.A.
I'll be out in LA on vacation soon. I'm really ready for it. And thanks for doing such a good show. And thank you. You could do a fucking bro fest here and just be a pig, but you're not. You're actually pissing off dude bros and caring about marginalized people. And what you're doing is really moral and it's really inspiring and you inspire me. It's really nice to see you.
Oh, thanks, John. And when you're in LA, please, we'll grab a beer or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that, John, but it's good to be on your show.
Both of his guests.
That was beautiful.
You know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm on your show, idiot.
And he has those like trigger words. If someone brings up, someone's mean to me on the...
Yeah.
Wait, you mean those girls are only going to show their boobs for money?
Yeah.